High Tales of History is for mature audiences. Hello, and welcome to High Tales of History. It's a history podcast where two sisters get high and surprise each other with a story from history. My name is Laurel. I'm the older sister.
I'm Katie, the younger sister.
My edibles kicked in, sorry.
Me too. It's going well.
I was like, how does this go? It's so funny because the last time you had a story, we opened up and I was like, this is High Tales of History. My eyes were like this. And I was like, oh no. I had to edit that and I was like, oh dear. But the thing is, it's good for me when it's a Katie episode, I get to be at a different level than I feel like I have to be when I am doing my half of the or like my part of the episodes. Speaking of edibles and how
Indeed.
they're kicking in, what have you dug out of your garden today?
I journeyed to the Cabinet of Wonders, and
Oh.
in that said Cabinet of Wonders, I found, what was it? It's the blood orange, I think. I don't know. It said a blend for creativity. I was like, well, that's exactly what we're looking for right now. So
I'm ready to be creative and and magical.
adventurous would be my
Adventurous?
favorite. But
Oh, okay.
yes, indeed. Adventurous for sure. What are you imbibing in this evening?
I have. Sorry, let's start that. I have half of one, but half of your strawberry ones, the incredible ones that you gave me.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
also, I'm tasting stars.
Yeah.
As the monk said. Actually, this is not from the Champagne region of France. This is sparkling wine, but
There you go.
it's still bubbly and still delicious, and I am still tasting.
It can
stars
still be bubbly
seeing
and
them.
magical.
Mm-hmm.
Magic is a good
I was gonna say,
segue into this episode.
My goodness gracious. Speaking of cabinets of wonders and stars, Katie has got an episode for us today that I think we're going to go on a grand magical adventure. When I do say at the beginning, we surprise each other with a story from history. That is true. But at the end of the last episode, Katie was talking about what she's got coming up, get us all excited for it. And then I guessed it with
Yeah.
wow. So if you were watching the video of it at the end, you'll see what I was saying then. And
Yep.
Katie's like, yeah. So this whole week, I've been
Actually,
like, oh,
correct.
here it comes. Yeah. She's like, yeah, you got that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna do guessing episode hints with you anymore because you always seem to guess them, and then it kind of takes away from the surprise. So,
but the surprise doesn't take away from the magic.
It doesn't. That is true.
So, Katie, what do you got for us today?
We all remember the scene in the Mines of Moria. Gandalf confronts the Balrog on the bridge of Khazad-dûm. The Balrog, Durin's Bane, to be precise, brandishes his sword before being driven back by Gandalf. Gandalf declared himself a servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Arnor. The sword is broken, but the Balrog pulls a whip from his flames and steps forward. Gandalf famously proclaims, "You shall not pass," and commands the creature to go back to the shadow, Flame of Udun, before he is dragged into the darkness by his enemy.
Fly, you fools.
Right? Didn't include that. I didn't know how much I was going to get away with as far as copyright infringement, so I was like,
oh no, you're good. You're offering commentary. That's not a copyright infringement.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's definitely what's happening.
That's in the law, I think.
So we all remember this scene. If you don't, you should go watch it right now, because what are you actually doing with your life?
Powerful. If I can't come back in my next life as Gandalf, I'm coming back as the damn Balrog. I mean, if I can't be like the coolest dude, I'm just going to come back as the most menace-bringing, evil, scary thing. There we go. You're just
Right, there you go.
Fire whip.
I
Hiding
would
down in the depths of Moria.
I would dig coming back as a Balrog. Like, oh my gosh.
At this point, if you can't be Gandalf and writing Shadowfax and being cool and powerful and
I can't
awesome,
be the best. I'm going to be the other best.
I'm going to go hard in the other direction. Actually, no. If like Galadriel, people would want to be Galadriel or something like that.
Galadriel is actually a decently powerful sorceress in her own right. So yes. Yeah. Okay.
So like
just checking. Yeah.
Or Balrog. I mean, both ends
I'm
of the
telling you,
spectrum there.
Witch King of Angmar is definitely my shout. I would be the most ridiculously sized Tiny, Witch King of Angmar. So Gandalf, right? Easily one of the most famous wizard names we might know.
Yeah.
So the old man archetype, acting as a guide, a scholar, and a guardian, and appearing as a long-bearded wanderer. Gandalf. Dumbledore. Prospero from Shakespeare's The Tempest, who also represented a scholarly wizard who uses books, magic, and familiars to control his environment. They all draw their inspiration from one source. That source is Myrthen, or rather, as he is known in English, Merlin.
Aw. And he has an owl named Archimedes.
There is one.
He's all kindly and sweet. Archimedes is the best name if you're going to have an owl or a falcon or any sort of like
oh my God.
raptor.
Absolutely incredible. Like any Greek philosopher
Archimedes
name.
claw. What? Dude.
Yo.
My favorite siege weaponry.
Yo, I didn't even think. Mine has always been the trebuchet. Now
Check
that
it out.
hold on, we're
Check it
talking
out.
siege equipment. Give me a second. It is a history podcast. We're allowed to do that, right?
Folks, look, screw your zodiac sign. What's your favorite siege
Dude,
weaponry?
really?
Is it a catapult? Is it a scorpion? A trebuchet? An Archimedes claw? Greek fire? I've run out. I know there's more.
I know
just
there's
trying to
more.
impress all the ballistics people after.
I mean, you're killing it.
Messing up what
the hell is this thing?
My understanding of it.
It tips both?
I've not seen it in practice.
Oh.
But it's I wasn't there at the siege of but my understanding is like, okay, so here's Syracuse. So here's our level of water, right?
Yes.
And then we've got underneath the water, you have like this kind of contraption. And my understanding is if kind of like a lever, if you can get this, you get this side down. I'm not sure how they did it, but and it like so as people are coming with their boats, then and then tip, dude.
That's amazing.
The thing is, I don't know how widely used they were. You know what I mean? Like that
I
seems
don't know
like
how
a really
effective
elaborate.
they were. Yeah. Well, but if you are a seaside town, you should have one probably.
Get those Archimedes claws at your city walls.
Wow, that's really interesting.
They won't row their boat to your shore.
Right. That's for real.
Give them a flip them into the Aegean Sea or Mediterranean.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Archimedes claw.
This is post-production Laurel here. I just had to follow up regarding this now that I've seen more detailed pictures. One, the pictures in the video of the episode give a much better idea, but it was more like a crane with a pulley system to pull the crane and subsequently the claw under the ships to tip them, as opposed to any sort of lever. Two, no, it was not widely used. We only get some written evidence about their use and devastation in some contemporary accounts of the siege of Syracuse. There has been no other evidence for them, although, like other people, I think they just look rad as hell. But what is cool to know, however, in more recent years, a group of engineers did build one under the guidelines of ancient building and engineering to see if it was feasible to build, function, and ultimately flip a Roman ship. And it did indeed do so. So was it widely used? No. It looks like it might have only been one battle, but it's still pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm still going to stick with my trebuchet. Still,
that's fine.
A solid fan.
A classic. It's a classic.
It is.
I mean, that's always been my number one pick. Like I said, until I figured out that there's something else that exists
called the Archimedes claw.
Archimedes, the owl, Merlin. There we are, back again.
So Merlin has appeared in, I think you say it, Arthurian legend.
Oh yeah.
Instead of Arthurian, it actually changed my spelling. And I was like, what? And then I was like, oh yeah, so Arthurian legend. So he shows up as an enigmatic figure. Fluctuations and inconsistencies in his character are often dictated by the requirements of what particular narrative he's filling. So it depends how he shows up, right? Varying attitudes of suspicion towards magic and witchcraft often inform that. So because he is a magic user, so... Oh, sorry, my turtle just scared me. I was like, holy shit, there's something on the ground. Talking about siege equipment, the battering ram has showed up.
Battering ram, yeah. Shoot, I forgot that one.
On from siege equipment, magic, really, it's magic is kind of like a not okay thing, right, by the church. So that kind of makes Merlin a little bit of a complicated character to deal with, which we will delve into. Because contrary to popular belief, recent findings have painted Merlin not as a wizard, but as a poet and a prophet deeply interested in the natural world.
Oh, the wizard was a bard, dude.
Actually, exactly a bard.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that's his title, is he's a bard. So
Yeah.
fucking hang in there.
That D&D
Because
party
songs are what? Because when we didn't write shit down, oral traditions and history, there it is.
Bring it.
And those who know their
girl.
history, they have wisdom that others don't have, right? There's another episode where I talk about this, where the people who lived apart from society, we'll have to link it. There are people who lived apart from society that often people went to them to seek wisdom, and they were treated as healers, as wise women, as the keepers of knowledge and history and stuff like that. It was held by that specific person in a village. So we're kind of we're really going to go more in that direction with this, which is interesting. But first, we're going to talk about Merlin. Who is Merlin? How did he come to be? Aside from the aloof, goofy old man with a talking owl named Archimedes in the Disney movie that sings us life lessons, Merlin was a sorcerer, an enchanter, and a wise man in Arthurian legend and a romance of the Middle Ages. They say that as in, like, romanticizing, by the way, just so we are all clear.
Chivalry, knighthood.
Yes. It's literally Arthur and the Round Table. Yeah, like, this is it. You know, we touched on it briefly when we were talking about that sword that got pulled up in the stone. We briefly touched on Arthur's legend. Was there a King Arthur?
The sword in the Bosnian stone.
Yes, you got it.
One. That was the same one as the Rudolph Diesel that you liked.
Gosh, I love that episode. That is my favorite Laurel episode.
Yeah?
I love that. That was, for whatever reason, I was like, I could not get enough of this.
It is yet another mysterious historic cold case. Is Rudolph Diesel.
Dude, your mystery history slaps me in the face.
Does it?
I love it.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, I live for it.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad. I'll link it.
So the version of Merlin that we are most familiar with comes from, I know it's Geoffrey, but I always say Joffrey because it's Geoffrey of Monmouth, and his work that is titled, y'all are gonna have to be okay with how this comes out, Historia Regum Britannia. It's Regum, Regum, or is it Regum? Probably
Maybe
Regum.
Regum? Yeah.
Yeah,
Regum.
it's Latin. God, Latin's weird.
Yeah.
Historia Regum Britannia. That sounds good to me. That was, what was that? 1136, I think, is the year on that. CE.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, well, Arthur, I couldn't remember how much I touched on it in that Bosnian Sword in the Stone episode, but it's old. It's an old thing, and it's about to get older. So Geoffrey of Monmouth, he adapted that story from an old story of Welsh antiquary. So put a pin in that. We're going to Wales
today.
Antiquary? I did. Enjoy it.
I was so stuck on that. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm like, wait,
you're like,
said in
wait a second.
Hey, you know what? You're the captain, Katie. Should you choose to add more words to the dictionary? I don't care. In my state, I don't care. I don't care.
How is it supposed to be said, my dear?
Well, probably like antiquity.
Yeah, antiquity? That's what I meant, and that's what you all heard. So cool. So he adapted the legend, right? 1136. This Geoffrey, it's just getting all kinds of wild here. Jeff, dude, it's Jeff. Jeff of Monmouth.
Jeff of Monmouth. He sounds like he's really good at pickleball, you know?
Probably.
Jeff of Monmouth.
Indeed.
This is Jeff. He's really good at mowing his lawn in those crisp diagonal lines.
Probably.
He's good at pickleball.
A little bit of a square.
Loves saying, hey, working hard or hardly working. Or,
There it is.
or how about this weather, huh? Jeff is the Midwestern dad.
Probably. Who claims all his ideas were his own.
Yeah, checks your tire pressures. Like, hey, why is your tire pressure so low, kid? You gotta
He's
pump
Jim
those tires up."
O'Malley. Yeah. Oh, what you got going over there? I saw you had some 2x4s, and I just went in to check you out. Just, you got any projects you're working on? And then he does the toe hop, and he goes, working hard or hardly working, am I right? There it is. He stands at Kimbo. Blake says that's a Kimbo. It's a stance in Tai Chi. It's that where they stand on the hands on the hips. It's like it's a form. Okay, so Jeff, dude. Jeff of Monmouth. This guy finds this story of, some might say, antiquity, and he rewrites it a little bit, right? So here's how his tale goes. This is the tale of Merlin. A boy, Ambrosius? Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go. I'm gonna say Ambrosius.
It is Ambrosius. So I was right on the first bit.
You're right the first time around. You got it.
Have some self-confidence. Jane.
What I was doing basically was coming in not to correct you or make you feel bad. It was mostly
hype you up.
It was to hype you up, girl. Like, no, it's Ambrosius.
Thank you.
Believe in yourself.
I appreciate you. Back to Ambrosius, who's given advice to the legendary British king Vortigern. Don't know if I got that one right, but, Latin as hell. In Jeff's account, because I'm calling him Jeff now instead of Geoffrey, Merlin Ambrosius figured as an advisor to Uther Pendragon, right? Don't know who that is?
Oh, yeah.
That's King Arthur's dad. Laurel seems to know what's going on.
I know that name.
Cool.
You could have asked me where he ranked on anybody's family tree, and I wouldn't have known, but
you know the name.
But I knew the name. Yeah.
Sure. So, Uther Pendragon is King Arthur's father. So, Merlin's serving as a little bit, Ambrosius is serving as a little bit of a advisor here. And then afterward, to Arthur himself. So they're super linked. In the Merlin story, it's super important that you remember Arthur and Merlin are like, their stories are very intertwined. We're going to delve into that, though. Jeff, again later, so he's done it he writes multiple iterations of this. I should have probably made that a little bit more clear.
Jeff, you wild card, you.
Yeah. So Jeff, he's writing it again. He's adapting the tale as he goes along. We're seeing more and more changes made a long time. He adapts this legend of a man from the woods gifted with the powers of divination. By the early 13th century, Robert de Baron's verse, Romance Merlin, added a Christian dimension to the character. So this is a very important distinction between Merlin and where he comes from. So it makes him a prophet of the Holy Grail. That legend was then linked to the Arthurian legend. So see how it's just kind of starting to layer. It's like a great Midwestern casserole.
Exactly.
Yeah. The author of the first part of the Vulgate cycle made the demonic side of Merlin's character more predominant. But in the later iterations of the Vulgate cycle, Merlin again became a prophet of the Holy Grail, while his role as Arthur's counselor, it's kind of just, it fills out, like he's more present there. There's not really a better way to put that. It's Merlin, to give you an example, like how he goes from just being like a side piece character to being an integrated part of the story. That's really what I'm trying to put here. So, for example, yes, thank you. I said it like a lot of ways, but badly, and then I finally got there in the end. So it's Merlin who advises Uther Pendragon to establish the knightly fellowship of the Round Table. So that was Merlin's idea, and it suggests that Uther's true heir would be revealed by a test that involved drawing a sword from a stone. All Merlin's idea, if you go back and read the original source material. And also, in a lot of his writings, it included a story of the wizard's infatuation with the Lady of the Lake, which eventually brought about his death, which we don't really go into because there's really nothing about that. That was just pure, like, I'm going to take Merlin, the character, and do something fun with him. So Merlin, the magician, he is one of the most famous and long-standing characters of Arthurian legend. He appears in almost every text that Arthur does, and is almost equally as important as the king himself. He fundamentally shapes the kingdom that Arthur develops, right? There would be no kingdom without Merlin. And I just said that in the next line. Arthur would not be king without Merlin. Look at that.
It's so important she said it twice.
Exactly. In the contemporary versions of the legend, Merlin is almost always depicted as good. His origins in the Middle Ages, however, were a little bit different. Medieval Ages was like right after he got written down, right? If that makes sense. So he's been established by, what did I say his name was? Jeff? So the character of Merlin originally came from pagan mythology. Yeah, I had to take you there. Haha, sorry. Scholars have traced his origins back to various figures of Celtic tradition, but he is most closely associated with the Welsh Merlin. So when we're done talking about like how we know Merlin now and today and like what he's influenced, we're going to go visit Wales. A lot of important stuff to talk about over there.
Yeah, it's about time for Wales. Let's just say
Honestly,
that.
they haven't gotten enough attention.
They haven't gotten nearly enough attention from this show.
Nowhere near. And honestly,
Nowhere
like
near.
as I was like writing it, I was like, nah, fuck yeah. I was like, Wales slaps though.
And you know what, Wales? We're really sorry about that. So here's your time to shine. We're pulling you like Excalibur from the stone.
Yeah. Wales is the dragon,
Wales
dude.
like, all right, calm down.
Calm down. Especially since that was the British take on their tradition, but roasted.
Oh my God, right?
Yeah.
Like, let me just rub the colonization in your face a little bit.
Yeah, right. It was really funny. Like as I was doing this, I was like, man, I was just trying to talk about a fun topic, but I ended up deconstructing and decolonizing anyway. And I looked at Blake. I was like, is this just a thing? He goes, you just sense it, I think. I was like,
good
damn.
lessons to learn. Yeah.
I mean, it is. That's the thing, is it really is. Like if I feel like, wow, it just keeps happening, I'm like, you know, maybe it was just fucking time. So, Merlin, when Merlin transitions to the Christian tradition, he retains these roots in evil, unchristian forms, right? He was first given demonic parentage by good old Jeff of Monmouth. There's Geoffrey again. Jeff calls Merlin a fatherless boy because his mother was a nun who swears she had never been with any man. When questioned about Merlin's origins, his mother does say that she remembers being visited on occasion by something that took the form of a handsome young man who used to kiss and hold her until she eventually became pregnant.
I like how she's like, it takes the form of a handsome young man who's kissed me and held me until I was like, girl, like hey, you know what? I see you. Get it, right? I'm not here to judge your decisions.
Dude, what if it was like
your
what if it was some handsome satyr? Get
or
after
it. Could be that. I was just saying that she's like, it was like a mysterious figure from my dreams. It could be demonic, you know, like it's an oppression on me. And
well, this like, is
when really it was a hot guy.
It was
like, and why not live your life?
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. I do realize we're talking about a nun though, so like, okay, I also get it.
I mean, how did she come to said nunnery? That matters. She gets pregnant, which again is not how that works. There is something. Oh, sorry. This something is identified as the narrative as an incubus demon. Right? Well, keep in mind, like, where we're talking, like, where could his magic come from? So, no place good. So, the devil that we all associate with the horns and the hoofed, cloven feet and stuff is actually a demonization of the god Pan. Pan is a nature god who loves his fucking flute, loves a little bit of an orgy, and loves snacks. So, fun fact.
Speaking of living your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Pan does every day.
Pan does.
So that is where, right? So they're taking, what I'm saying to you here badly, but I'm going to be very like out front with it now is this is where you watch, Christianity takes the pagan origins of things and demonizes them. And the reason they do that is to keep people, it's a form of control, basically, is separating people from their old traditions and origins. Why does that matter? You're like, okay, whatever, history, stuff. It disconnects people from their land and their culture. And when they do that, it actually makes them easier to control. Not to hop up on my soapbox, but it is important because you have to remember this is Britain. Right? So Christianization came from Catholicism, which followed over to Britain, which then led to control in the monarchy, which led to the colonizing of the Saxons, Queen Boudica. It went to the Celts. You know, I mean, look at Scotland, you know, and Ireland, fuck's sake, ask them about it. And Wales is another one. So that's where you see that. So Merlin, being a quote unquote pagan myth, has to be demonized in some way. He has to be from the devil, from a demon, can't be good, right? Magic isn't okay because, knowledge is a forbidden fruit, apparently. And anything that starts out with the you shouldn't have knowledge about yourself or anything is probably a red flag, but what do I know? So, anywho, that's why Merlin has these demonized roots. So this is the kind of demon in the medieval ages that people believe could impregnate women. Jeff is really not all that worried about these origins. So he did not dwell on that particular demon. He establishes a direct connection between Merlin and the demonic. He was like, fuck it, this full send. That's exact. He literally hit the fucking button and full send. So he didn't give a fuck. So Merlin's demonic heritage is made more severe and more evil by the early French and English writers of his life that suggest that Merlin was created by demons to be the literal Antichrist. So these texts begin their stories with Merlin's birth with a conversation about demons. The stories tell about how Lucifer was cast out of heaven with a bunch of demons and how after the demons had fallen, they heard about Christ and decided they wanted their own representative on earth. They wanted someone who could tell humans of their deeds, their ways of life, and their goals to draw people into their way of thinking. They also decided that this person should have their extensive powers so as to better convince humanity of their message. Their hope is that this child will make the world full of woe and eventually destroy Christendom.
You know what? I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier. Believe in yourself. You got it, Christendom.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Merlin, conceived of demons. The child they create to fulfill their evil plan is Merlin. After this conversation, the demons destroy a harmless family and impregnate the youngest daughter. It gets as bad as it possibly could. Merlin is born shortly thereafter to act as the Antichrist. Right? It's a thing.
That's wild. That's a lot darker than I imagined. I imagined it didn't have like a Disney background, but also I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Well, so you're right. The medieval ages was really when the church took control of the state. So what you're seeing there is a lot of that heavy demonization of pagan values, because before a lot of like Christianity, like there's a lot of our history where Christians and pagans lived peacefully alongside each other. I have this belief, you have that belief. That's the fucking dream, isn't it? But remember, a lot of like paganism is like very independent focused, I guess I would say. Like it's not a monotheistic religion, right? So that therein means that like you're not born with guilt, you're not born with sin, you're not born with any of that. You just live your way in accordance to these morals that you hold, and the morals, brought down by, what set of gods is this person's chosen pantheon path, whatever, so a lot of it promotes a lot of independent improvement, that way of life. And the church doesn't want that because they want control, because they want the agenda, so really you're seeing the Christianity become a lot more weaponized here is what I'm saying. It wasn't always like that, right? There are places where Christians and pagans are buried next to each other. A lot of them are Vikings, it wasn't always that weaponized and more like.
Sure. That's a really good point to make. Yeah.
I never want it to sound like it's like, such a bashing of one thing, but weaponizing a religion is what you hear me really speak out against. And what I make these points with this history is the weaponizing of the religion is the problem I have.
Right. Yes. I understood that's what you were saying as well. So
cool. That's fantastic. So here you're really seeing that take root. So you see that really dark origin with him. He has to be really bad because, magic and stuff, people.
Yeah. And also making it, as I mentioned, I was like, wow, it's even darker than I thought. Making it as dark as you can scares the people off. And then they're like, oh man, that's really fucked up. Like,
yeah. Sure.
Word. Yeah.
Yeah. Merlin's powers, they're given him to help him fulfill this role as the Antichrist. He is most famous in the Middle Ages as a seer, though. So he has a prophet that can see everything that has happened in the past, that is happening in the present, and that will happen in the future. So there are a lot of characters that really all draw from Merlin, and I'm interested if you notice any of that. I saw so much. I know everybody's not like a big fan of J.K. Rowling right now, which I don't fucking blame you. But I'm still going to talk about Dumbledore because it is such a big pop culture reference and piece, and we all know about it.
Yeah.
And like so much of his character is a rewritten Merlin. So I'm here to say I see her source material because a lot of this comes from that. And you know how he has the pensive to look at his thoughts and stuff later, you know? And he's always doing all this work to like try and like gets the prophecy from Trelawney to see the future, and like a lot of that, like so much of that is Merlin based, Myrthen based, to be specific, but like so much of Dumbledore is just a Merlin. And I thought that was really interesting. I was like, man, I was like, the more I learned, and I'm going to keep pointing it out, there's more similarities. It was really just a rebranding, a Merlin rebrand.
Of all the Merlin, I don't know, archetypes or different iterations there have been of him, Dumbledore's the one that probably comes to mind first, and then Gandalf, you know, in terms of like that archetype.
Gandalf is a big one, though. Gandalf, the bearded wanderer. Gandalf also draws a lot of inspiration from Odin with the staff and the wanderer. Because Odin, when he walks amongst the people, is said to be a one-eyed bearded wanderer. And he often will ask for like, because he tests you, he will ask for like shelter, food, clothing, something like that. This poor beggar and wanderer, and he tests people. So watch out. If there is an old man talking to you in riddles, you best watch the fuck out and start like giving him shit.
It could be Odin.
You never know.
If a raven lands on his shoulder as well,
you
too,
extra fucked.
Like, you better be paying attention.
You better be paying attention.
That person's pet. Who knows? But you know,
you know what? It's my dream to be a one-eyed raven owning like wanderer with a dude. I'm gonna do it. You know, listen, Blake and I are. I'll put it out. It's fine.
Don't do that. Maybe just wear an
all right,
eye patch.
I'll wear an eye patch.
Sides. Yeah.
I'll have an eye patch, yeah. So I can at least get the effect.
It could be a person, or it could be Odin. It could be a person, or it could be Odin.
I mean, vet it. Take it with a grain of salt. What did they tell you? Does it seem viable? Use your own logic. You are your own god.
Take your own path.
Yeah,
as you said,
absolutely.
Go your own way. Fleetwood Mac.
The left hand path champion. Anywho. Merlin, he's a seer. That's where we kind of tangented it off. Is Gandalf, Dumbledore, Jesus wizards, Jesus wizards. Wasn't Jesus a wizard too? He's got a beard. I don't know about. It's full.
Oh goodness gracious. Okay.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm controlling myself.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm here. I put myself back together again. Like Humpty Dumpty, just ready to sit on that wall again.
Okay, Merlin. So his ability to see what happens in the past and everything that is happening in the present comes from his demonic father, and some of his most impressive bits of magic arise from this demonic source. He saves his mother from wrongful persecution, for example, by revealing that the lustful origins of the justice who persecutes her. So like the guy that's going after her. You can like read all this stuff. It's kind of interesting. This is the British take on it. This isn't like the Christianized medieval version. This isn't like the real story. But yeah, I mean, it gets dramatic.
Like what in the Frollo and Esmeralda is going on here?
It's funny you say that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
So he tells the evil Vortigern that his tower keeps toppling over because of a couple of dragons living underneath it. That has meaning, so hang in there. He ensures Arthur's victory in battle over and over again by making sure his troops are in exactly the right place at exactly the right time. Merlin is then able to be such a wonderful musician because his dad was a demon. Did I say musician? I meant magician. Maybe he was a great musician. I don't know that. What? Merlin is able to be a wonderful magician because of his demonic father.
He's magic on the guitar. He's magic with a wand.
Bippity-boppity-boo. Right?
Sure. You know?
So the fact that Merlin's powers come directly from demonic sources should make him an incredibly evil character. But there were different attitudes towards different kinds of magic in the Middle Ages. But magic done through the intervention of demons was like the absolute worst kind. Evoking and using the power of demons to perform magic was basically heresy, obviously. And those who tried to call upon demons were thoroughly denounced by the church, obviously. And the fact that Merlin's magic is quite literally demonic, not to mention that he was created as the Antichrist, at least in some of those iterations, it should mean that he was pretty much condemned as an evil character, but that never happens, like, at all. Like, I mean, look at him. He's still used, again, as that archetype today. Like, it's like, what? It's really weird. So, like, none of that worked against him.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is interesting. Yeah. And so the moment that he is born in the French and English versions, his story undergoes a series of Christian rituals to ensure that he is on the side of the righteous, right? The poets spend a lot of time emphasizing that he is immediately baptized and brought into Christian legitimacy. He denounces the demons who fathered him and lives his life as a good Christian hero. He even calls himself God's messenger on earth. So these are even later iterations, right? So what's kind of interesting is that he retains the demonic powers of his father, even despite renouncing them. And upon renouncing his demons, he's given powers from God, which is his ability to see into the future. So denounces them, gets more power. It's kind of a weird way of handling it, right? Yeah, you're
It
like,
also
okay.
says something too. Like if you're looking for more power than what you have, invite the church and Christianity into your life. I mean, if someone wants to be that deep about it, sure.
No, absolutely. I totally agree because, I mean, I'm sure from the 1100s on, there's very few people in the English-speaking world that don't know Merlin. Like, he's a very popular character. And again, even as you and I said, you're like, yeah, I said Dumbledore's basically a Merlin rebrand. Harry Potter's a worldwide franchise. Like, Merlin. Just a different name.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about that in the Divination episode, or one of the Divination episodes, like about the different classes of magic and how...
Yeah.
Which mattered at that time as people were moving from, believing in more folk magic or like, paganism and like, people like of the earth versus the spread of
when they really
Christianity.
switch from like paganism to
it's really
Christianity, really. And then, like I said, as those medieval ages hit, you really see the church change. It's not just like an integrated part of like everyday's life, which it is, but like it is like the only way. Like it criminalizes everything else, basically. So as I mentioned before, Merlin originally came from pagan mythology, going back, and was closely linked with the early Welsh Merlin. Here we are. We've made it, finally. This is what it is about right here, people.
Here it is.
So recently, poems sourced from over 500 medieval Welsh manuscripts have been compiled, compared, and organized over at the Swansea University. Swansea is a public research university located in Wales, obviously. Over the past 3 years, a team of academics has edited and translated more than 100 poems about the legendary figure, some dating as far back as the 10th century. In total, they have edited 102 poems, consisting of 4,450 lines across 519 manuscripts so far. The collection includes seven major early poems of medieval manuscripts and 95 later poems surviving from the early modern period.
Wow.
So,
Swansea.
yeah.
Nice work.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole... I have it. I put it right away. I thought about it, and because I always am looking for these things, I have a link that we can put where people, if you want to go read, look at this, or be a part of it, they have a whole... It's still getting launched, the website, but I have it in my stuff saved so we can put it in our description of the episode. Sure.
I'll put it under mentioned in the stories. That's usually where I'll put like extra links.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It is... Hold on, I'll read it to you. I just have to go to the top of my screen. It's a Merlin poetry Welsh website. Right now they only have the welcome page because they're working on it, but they're compiling all that they know about him into a place for everybody to access, which is like very generous.
Cool.
In my opinion. I thought that was really cool. So I don't know exactly where this discovery came from. Like I said, 3 years ago. So they recently, being the 3-year mark, have discovered like shit tons of old writings, like stuff that they thought was lost to time. So stuff that Jeff would have read and basically copied off of. So Who was Merlin?
Welcome to the break. Are you having fun? We sure hope so, and we want to make sure you never miss out on any more fun or history. Save your spot in the smoke circle by subscribing or following on the platform you're currently hearing our dulcet tones. If you're on Spotify or YouTube, give it a like, drop a comment about who you think Merlin was, your favorite character that's inspired by him, or your favorite siege weapon. Or maybe you share this episode with a friend or on your social media. Sharing is caring, and you care about your friends, don't you? Yeah, of course you do. Invite them to the smoke circle. And speaking of the socials, we're on all of them. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all linked in the show notes below. We're also on Patreon, which you can follow for free or sling us a few bucks a month to help keep our lava lamps on and get some extra content. Thanks to your generosity, we're officially not just breaking even on the show anymore. I'm saving a little extra for the nice new microphone for you all. So again, thank you for your support, and however you are able to show it, it means a hell of a lot to us. And to show we care, for all paid levels of the Patreon, we have some extra bits that didn't quite fit into the show, but we still had a lot of fun talking about. And that is after the credits for you Best Bud members. Just make sure you're listening from the Patreon site to access it, though. All right, I am done. I promise. Thank you so much for...
Oh, stop.
Whoa.
1 second.
Oh,
Don't forget to check out our new videos.
thanks, buddy.
And also, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. There you go. How about we catch back up with Katie and Puff Puff Bassett on to part 2.
Merlin was Merlin's original name and possibly means madman or of many names.
Ooh, many names. That's quite a dichotomy, actually. What was the other one again? Sorry.
Madman.
Madman.
Yeah, there's
Madman
a
or
reason
man
for
of
that.
many names. One
Yeah.
is one thing, and the other is mystery.
I think the most accurate is madman. There is a reason for it, though. We're going to get into. I'm actually about to read you his original story right now. So,
You know what? Let me just shut my damn mouth, and then you can tell us. Sorry.
okay, so Merlin, here it is. Are you ready? Was a bard.
It's happened.
Yeah. And medieval Welsh legend, he would have been born around 540 CE. He also seemed to have a twin sister by the name of, bear with me, Wales. I'm so sorry. Gwendid, looks like. His history can be traced back to a similar character named Lilauken. I don't know how accurate that is because a lot of Welsh is not spoken how it
Yeah,
looks.
it's not necessarily phonetic. either.
Indeed,
Yeah.
yes. I did my best. There was a lot of stuff I was able to find, not everything. So this legend, Lilauken, he was said to be a madman who roamed the Caledonian forest in the late 6th century, so what is now southern Scotland. Merlin has similar characteristics. According to Annales Cambria, which is the 12th century copy of a mid-10th century original that covered events in Wales, Ireland, Cornwall, England, Scotland, and further. It would have been in 573 CE, the Battle of Arfderydd. That's right. So the Battle of Arfderydd, it took place in Arthuret? It's just over the line in modern-day Scotland. So it's like over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was weird, right? But it's a Welsh thing. But a lot of it's
Okay,
centered in that area. So
Okay.
the battle was between the men of King Gwendulu and Gwyrgi, the perder of King Ryderich. Sorry, this stuff is old, so give me a break. Merlin was on Gwendolu's side, Gwendalu, who ultimately lost. And along the way, he lost his nephew, and the king was also killed. Yes.
Oh, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So after the battle, based upon what he had seen, Merlin becomes like mad or like just loses sanity, and he runs away to Celadon, the forest of Celadon. Celadon.
Kind of like
It's with a
Caledonia?
C. It's with a C, and I know sometimes Celtic things actually pronounce the C with an S. But Celadon, the forest of Celadon, Celyddon. that was another manuscript that had very striking similarities to this one.
Oh,
Was the
okay.
point they were making. So Merlin runs off to Camelot. While in the forest, he developed a gift for prophecy and would eventually foretell his own threefold death by falling, stabbing, and drowning.
That's too many folds.
Right?
Threefold.
It's
I just
really
want one fold.
interesting.
Like, let's
Yeah.
just, and quick and easy. Like, you're right. We don't need 3. And you especially don't want to know that that's going to be 3.
Right?
Man.
Don't tell me.
Don't tell me that. I don't need to know. Just give me the one fold, please. Thank you. What did you say that they were again? Stabbing or
It
falling?
was falling, stabbing, and drowning.
Those are like all the worst things that you'd want to have
I know,
happen, really.
Really sucks.
I mean, why don't they just add buried alive in there? My God.
Please don't.
God, I shouldn't have thought about that. No.
Right? I was like, oh no. That's where he gains his sight. It's pretty sad. So what I thought was really interesting about this is it bears a lot of resemblance to, if anyone knows much about like Norse mythology, the legend of Odin. He hangs himself from Yggdrasil for 9 days, and he's also run through with his spear. In doing that, sacrificing himself for 9 days on the tree of life, that's how he loses his eye, and that's how he gains knowledge of the runes. That's how the runes are discovered. Yes, Odin brought them about.
Okay.
Yes, so the gift of knowledge was then given to humanity through Odin's sacrifice. It's kind of interesting, right? Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw a lot of similarities here. I don't know why he came off as very Odin similar-esque to me. Not exactly, mind you, but a lot of like similar ideas. And we're going to get into it a little bit more here, but very much the bringer of knowledge, very much in that role, and the wise old man and stuff like that. Like I found a lot of similarities there. Maybe I just go there because it's comfortable, because I know it. So I'm like, oh yeah, I can see it, when really it's not, necessarily all that similar. But that's what it made me think of.
There's also some like the Christian parallels as well too, with like the number
very
3
much so.
and like the stabbing of the spear and all these sorts of things. Like it's a really
Well, Christian. Go ahead.
No, we might say the same thing here. Is like it's really interesting knowing that Christianity
is the newest. That's where I was going.
Like kind of paid over these like pagan ideas and like adopted some of them and changed them in their ways to like suit
all of them.
Their needs, really.
Yeah.
To see how you see where that happens, because it feels really obvious that once you know, it's really fascinating.
Right. I think it's really fun that you pointed that out, because a lot of times I see that and like I'll point that out to Blake. And I was like, is it just me? Like, am I looking for it to be wrong? Or he's like, no, you know how the blocks were put together. So it's easier. He's like, how did he say? When you take things apart and put them back together, it gets easier every time, right? Because you know where stuff goes. I was like, yeah. He's like, well, that's kind of how like history is for you. It's easy for you to point stuff out because you've gone through the manuscript a couple times. I was like,
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we hope to be for you, folks. Join our
I hope
smoke circle. High Tales of History. Tell your friends.
We do love history around here. And how it interacts with us. That's kind of like my favorite part about it. Like history, yeah, like written down in old stuffy books, but it's so relevant.
Yeah. And that's actually, historians, that's their thing. It's not the rote memorization of dates and events and being like, this happened on this day and this happened on this day, and copy
and this
on the
was
definition.
So and so son. Yeah.
Right. It's what it is. It's knowing those events and people and how they are attached to each other throughout history. And you can explain like something that happened 200 years ago is exactly why this thing is happening on the other side of the world for this reason,
and how it came to be.
How it came to be,
and what you can do.
Yeah, obviously, as we experience history every day, these things don't happen in a vacuum. And so understanding that's why I'm a bit of a silly goose, but that's why I talk about the history tapestry. That's like my way of being like, here's how all the threads go together. And you get like
it does.
the dog with the fish butt, and then like the weirdly muscular baby Jesus, and then, but they all go together in one big giant weird picture.
Yeah. But they do connect. Yeah. No, that's real. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. And that's so true. Yeah. So super important to me, to all of you, and to the country of Wales as a whole, to be bringing you this legend, this legend that like shaped wizarddom like today, he's Welsh.
Yeah, I think I had a dragon on their flag too. I mean,
They
really,
do.
they're like,
the dragon's coming
we're
up,
leaning into
actually.
this. Sip it. Sip it. Just put your mouth on that champagne glass again. Get that glass all lipsticked up and shut your pie hole, girly.
So I took out, that was a lot of excerpts from original poetry speaking about Merlin. I took out the part where he gains sight in the forest, and it talks about two warring dragons. It talks about a white dragon, and it talks about a red dragon. So I took it out only because this would be 12 fucking pages long if I didn't. So
But cool.
when I go to refer to the dragons here, there's a whole theme. You can find it in my notes. I have all my sources listed.
Lifted and listed.
Lifted
Using
from
them.
the internet, I suppose. Copy and paste. You can go there, you can look, you can see specifically the one I'm talking about. It's the one that's all poetry. And you're like, oh, okay. You gotta scroll a little bit through there. It's past the lake picture. But yeah,
right.
So it was a whole, it's old English too. And I was like, maybe not. I'll just mention it. So Merlin, this story, I've told you, it's a very far cry from Merlin, right? It's not the story that we've come to know.
Yeah.
With Pendragon.
This is really great. I love it, by the way.
Thank you.
That's good.
There's a lot of passion here, man. So
Bring the
long
passion.
before Geoffrey of Monmouth created Arthur's Wizard in 1136, Merlin existed in Welsh poetry as a prophet and a bard. The Black Book of Carmarthen, I can do this, contains poems in Merlin's voice from the 9th and 12th centuries. Yeah. The oldest surviving manuscript written entirely in Welsh. In one of the poems, In the Apple Trees, they did put it in here in Welsh. I was not brave enough to try. I just put it in English because I don't want to sit here and butcher the Welsh language. I struggle so much with Welsh that I chose to just translate because that's why I told you the whole thing is written in Wales is going to get their time. Don't worry. They are going to get so much. This whole entire last third of this is just a love letter to Wales.
Oh.
So in the Apple Trees, Merlin speaks to an apple tree in the forest and prophesies the future of the Welsh people. In another poem, he addresses a little pig. I'm interested to see if you pull where this is going because I know there's a big old movie that talks about this.
I'm scooting in, but I'm
so
ready.
He addresses a little pig, foretelling Welsh battles with the Normans. So we're in the 1100s. What else have I talked about in the 1100s in England that was happening at this time?
Crusades!
William the Conqueror.
Northern invasion.
Yes, Norman invasion. So they were Normans at this time. Thank you, Laurel. You got there. So not necessarily magic, right? Merlin is not necessarily magic, but a traumatized bard speaking through nature. So specifically, this foretelling of the future, this talking to a pig, fruit. There is a big old Disney movie that nobody ever talks about that was ripped straight from this poem. There's no way it wasn't. The Black fucking Cauldron. Foreseeing the future and the pig that foresees the future. Holy shit. It's all the Black Cauldron. That is straight Merlin.
I would totally agree. Absolutely. I think they came out rough. Well, that and the sort of the in the stone came out in the same sort of time period.
Yes,
I think.
the Dark Ages.
But not the Dark Ages.
That's what it's called, the Dark Ages of Disney. They didn't earn a lot of money, and I guess it was like the company was failing. You know what saved them?
Hang on.
Oh,
Mary
you should
Poppins.
know this. It was your favorite.
Oh, Beauty and the Beast? Oh, Little Mermaid. Duh.
Yes.
I'm snapping at myself.
I know. I was like, no, wrong.
That was your favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're wrong.
You had the alligator sticker on it with your name on it. I'll never forget it.
Mm-hmm.
Weird how core memories work, huh?
Yes. I think I have actually
Never
not seen the Black
You
Cauldron,
should.
which is weird. I feel like
the artistry in that. It's like Lord of the Rings Disney.
Oh.
I love The Black Cauldron. It's considered a cult classic. So for those of you that don't know, The Black Cauldron was made by Disney. They spent a whole shit ton of money on it and got no return. It flopped. So it's considered their dark, like, sin. Yeah.
Oh.
You won't see it represented in the parks. You don't ever see it anywhere talked about. But the villain, the Horned King, he's amazing. He's he's so
seen
vile.
him, yeah.
I mean, he's just scary. He's really scary. And I love the animation on him. And honestly, a lot of this, of Myrthen, I was sitting here, I was like, holy shit, this is the Black Cauldron. This is where they got that idea. There's no way they didn't. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's just...
It just occurred to me that I don't think I saw the Black Cauldron or the Sword in the Stone because they were about magic.
Uh-huh.
Peep that episode about the Satanic Panic, everybody.
It's a good one.
But yeah, I just realized that in the Dark Crystal. I hadn't seen the Labyrinth.
I never see Dark Crystal. I got to see Labyrinth, though.
Mm-hmm. All those...
And more of David Bowie than I ever needed to see.
Juggle those balls. Crystal balls, I mean. Yep.
Right?
That's perverted, Laurel. Don't say stuff like that about people. May he rest in peace.
Well, yeah, but they very clearly were doing that in the movie. If that's not... Come on, you mean to tell me David Bowie wouldn't laugh at that? I'm sure he had a sense of humor.
I hope so. Anyway, yeah, so...
He seemed like a pretty cool cat.
He's a pretty cool cat. I don't know this for sure, but my memory all of a sudden is like, oh yeah, you weren't allowed to see those movies because they were magic. In fact, even the early... I don't like to talk about Harry Potter that much these days because of JK.
Yeah.
JK shitface. But the earliest books, when the first book came out, there was so much hype around Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
We weren't allowed to
Chamber of Secrets. We weren't allowed to read them. The irony, folks, is at the end of this, our parents were the one who were getting the midnight drops of those last books. And they were like, we're all going to read them together. They're fantastic. Anyway, but yeah, so... The irony being that, but yeah, I think I wasn't allowed to see those things because they were because those are all things I've never seen except for the Labyrinth because I love Dave Bowie, and I ended up
so that was allowed in our house
in the later part of my growing years, my kid years, watching the Labyrinth a lot.
So Sword in the Stone, it's good. It's slow. It's a very slow moving story. You don't get a whole lot going. It's just kind of like a do-do-do. It kind of has the energy of a Saturday morning cartoon. You're not really going anywhere. You're just kind of meandering.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. Especially I like it when they're in the fish pond in the moat hiding from the, what is it? It's a pike or something like that. It's a northern pike or something. Things I remember, right? I remember Archimedes. I remember the magnificent Madame Mim. She is, yeah. And she's very evil, and she turns into a dragon and is chasing everyone, stuff like that. She's fun. Definitely watch The Black Cauldron. If you've got nothing to do, this evening, The Black Cauldron should be on your list. Remember the Lord of the Rings cartoons in the 70s? It's kind of more like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That is what that feels to me already in my head without that explicit description.
It's very dark.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It has that. Definitely Myrthen inspired. It has to be. The little pig, everything. It was all in there.
Yeah. I mean, the inclusion of the pig feels significant, right?
Yeah. That's not an accident. I don't know why Disney would put it in there otherwise. So these poems, this is all from a collection of poems, right, that we're talking about. Some that people believe are written by the real Myrthen in 540, so I don't know.
Okay.
I think there's so much work being done on it right now that it's kind of up in the air was the general consensus I got here. It is written down, so that's cool. We've got that. Who wrote it down? We don't always know. And again, this is all being translated from Welsh. Old Welsh, by the way.
Great.
1000 CE Welsh. So, good luck.
Have fun with that, linguist.
Yeah. So, but the real story of Myrthen, these poems show a man living alone in the forest after witnessing the horrors of the Battle of Arthuried, where his lord, Gwendalu, was slaughtered. The trauma gave him sight, but he didn't learn magic from books. He earned his wisdom through suffering. Another thing in my mind that links him to Odin. But also, like, what a time to chat about PTSD.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like the
Yeah.
recognizing like the effects of trauma and
Mhm.
PTSD. Like I was like, wow, that's really interesting. Being like,
It is.
hey, shit can fuck you up.
Yeah, that's a big part of his story, honestly. Merlin wasn't casting spells, he was channeling the voice of the land itself. So if you strip away the medieval romance and the Norman embellishments, you find the original, a Welsh bard driven mad by war who found wisdom in the wilderness. One such of those collections of poems is called, this is all in Welsh, so everybody be kind. I'm going to do my damnedest here. Ym Thythan, Myrthin a Taliesin. That was a solid college try for someone who doesn't know a lick of Welsh.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
So, in this collection of poems, it preserves conversations between two of the greatest poet prophets of Welsh tradition. Obviously, one of them being Myrthin, and it didn't say the other one, so sorry, you can Google it. This is about Myrthin right now. They didn't duel with wands, they exchanged poems and verses. This is what Welsh magic really looked like: poetry, prophecy, and a connection to the other world.
Hair tuck.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Grindelwald and Dumbledore, that
Oh,
straight from that. You're not going to tell me it's not. Come on now.
okay.
I see your source material. Not that I got on here to purposely like deconstruct and call people out, but I was just sitting here and I was like, man, I just don't like it when the truth gets buried. I just like the source material, the OGs. They need their day, man.
Sure.
This is where this was all born from. Another poem in Welsh that is Armes Pryden. It's a 10th century poem. Myrthin foretells the unity of Celtic peoples driving back the Anglo-Saxons. In this poem, he wasn't just talking about the dragon battles or dragons battling. He is warning of political futures, military victories, and the survival of the Welsh identity. So in that excerpt of that poetry, yeah, he's talking about the white dragon and the red dragon. Red dragon, if for those of you who don't know, the red dragon is on the Welsh flag.
Does the white one symbolize England then, or what?
I think so. Yeah. Again, I cut it out because I was sitting here and like I got lost reading through it, and I was like, oh my God, this is maybe not podcast content.
Yeah.
Yes, in general, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Yeah, I mean, I encourage everyone to go look and peruse at their own, leisure. Sometimes it's nice to just have time to like dissect things one line at a time, but come at it with that point of view, way of thinking. So, I did the thing where I put Geoffrey Monmouth of Monmouth. You mean Geoffrey of Monmouth? Took Welsh stories and added magical elements and relocated the time period to Arthur's era to make the wizard many would recognize today. But the ancestors of Cymru know him differently. A prophet of the Welsh people, not a prop in somebody else's fantasy. All of the recent research and discoveries have made it abundantly clear that what Welsh tradition has always known. Myrthin was a poet. He was also a pro. He was a poet and a prophet, deeply connected to the natural world and not a spellcasting wizard. Myrthin was a Welsh bard, a prophet of his people, and a man who found wisdom in the wilderness and spoke the truth from the forest. The English-speaking world may know him as Merlin, but the wizard... Well, Merlin the wizard, but let us call him by his real name, Myrthin.
Slow clap.
Slow clap.
I love it. Get your D&D campaign together. Your wizard starts as a bard.
Yeah. There it is, people. There it is.
They're like, hey, who's your character for the campaign? And you're like, he's a wizard, but he starts as a bard. He gets his music going, his poetry. He's doing his little stealth checks and his mandolin
Stealth
playing
check.
at the same time. He's like, have I entertained him enough? Nat 20. Yeah.
Nat 20.
And then that's how he levels up. He levels up into a wizard. Look, hey, let me be your dungeon master.
Yeah.
I've never done it before. It's
Hell
fine.
yeah.
I'll be so good. You could have a
I
bard
feel
wizard.
like I would actually be a rad dungeon master with like the level of like ADHD and creativity and possibly caffeine in that mix. You would just have like, you would literally be like Tolkien, like deep, and you'd be like, damn, that'd be like, everyone gets little cards so they respond in the right language. Right? If you're going to be a dwarf, you're going to speak like one. Won't listen.
Hey, we're not speaking English at this table. I don't know what you think you're doing here. Elvish,
Yeah.
Dwarven. I mean, I need to
I'd have sound effects going. I would definitely, without a doubt, have a soundtrack going.
Yeah, get all the
Yeah.
Foley. You're like the wind rushes.
It would all be deeply pagan inspired because
Yeah.
that's where everything comes from.
Okay, put it in the comments. Do you want to be part of our D&D campaign?
Right?
Yes.
Could you imagine?
Circle yes or no. Yes is written bigger than no.
If it's yes, that means we have to get a Zoom channel back together so we can D&D with everybody.
Yeah.
Dude, if we, I would consider it. I'll fucking DM. I got this. I know a guy who owns a shop that like has D&D stuff in it, so I got this.
Yeah, that's true. Get your mister on it. Like, that's good.
You have a talent, a very specific set of talents
Yes.
that would help us in this instance.
Very specific set of skills and keys to the place that will get us the things that we need for these
Indeed.
skills. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Katie, that was fantastic. What a great time that was hanging out with Merlin. That was a much different and darker take than I expected
Yeah.
was going to happen. But also, should I be surprised, folks? No.
Probably not.
Should I be surprised at what happens to pagan cultures or like indigenous cultures and things like that? Is when, yeah, I mean, that's cool though. That's like a really cool look at, yes, myth, but also like the real history that comes from
Legend.
myth and the legend.
Myth and legend.
Oh, it's a real legend.
It's a real legend. I'm of the opinion that it was kind of something like Robin Hood, where like, I do think there was a real one. There's always an origin somewhere, people.
What do you think? Who was Merlin? Is Merlin actually a real person from history? You know, like an amalgamation of people that has been wrapped in myth and legend? Or is it all legend? Like, what do you think, Katie?
I think he was actually like a person at some point who kind of saw the way things were going and recognized what Britain, because he wrote things down like before they happened. Like that actually was a thing. Like a lot of his, like the dragon poetry and stuff was like a warning about, you know, Britain and the Normans.
That's really interesting. That timeline is really cool.
Yeah. I think he is another example of a pagan culture that drew their wisdom from everything around them. And I know that sounds like very, you know, that animism. But really that is true. But also, again, like this is when we go back to people keeping history through oral tradition and stuff like that, like bards and people like that would love to delve into that history because it is fascinating, because it is where history keeping began. And in my opinion, history keeping is where the seat of knowledge of our species is. And what I mean by that is that whole thing of, you know, you hear it said 1,000 times, those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it. Yeah, that is true, because those who sat there and read it and didn't get it, didn't understand it, didn't see the like chess pieces moving and, you know, understand that, like, that's what everything's written off of. Game of Thrones is about that. Lord of the Rings, it's about that. Like, all that stuff comes from history. It's all history inspired, like all of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's our story. And bards and poets and those people who do that are the keepers of knowledge. So I view them as wise people, wise women, wise men, whatever, you know, wizard, witch, whatever you want to call them. I think they were the seat of our knowledge as a species, in my opinion. You know, keeper of like which plants are good to eat, which, you know, Mushrooms are good to trip out on, which, like, I mean, anything, you know, what the best
Or the ones
way
that'll
to give,
kill you.
yeah, the ones that'll kill you, the best way to give birth, you know, everything. They just kept all of it. So, you know, I think the story of Merlin is far more interesting than the story of Merlin. Whilst fun and inspiring and really cool, what was even more fascinating to me is I was like, oh shit, you mean Merlin isn't even the OG, there's something older. I think that's cool. And god damn it, let whales have their day.
Let whales in on this fun, you know? Like let them in. Join them into the
where Merlin started, dude. Everybody knows Merlin. That's what I was saying. Like literally everybody. Well, you can go thank Merlin for that because that's where he came from. So do I think he was real? At some point, yeah, there was somebody living in the woods writing poetry and passing that on, you know?
Sure.
And he's probably pretty important. I'm going to call him Merlin because I don't know what his name was. But, you know, I'm glad he existed. I think it would be pretty wild if he saw where it went today. You know, to show you a picture of like, or movies of Dumbledore, be like, this eventually is where it ends up.
Right.
You'd be like, wow, that's trippy. So I do think he was real at some point, but I think Merlin is who I think he was, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think that's good. I think those are all good takes and good opinions on what it is, who it might be, and what it was trying to promote in its retelling. So yeah, what and who it was trying to promote. So that's cool. You know what? Do I do it? It's been a magical time.
You might as well.
Can I just say it? It's been a magical time.
I'm told Wales is a magical place, so I'd say it's magical.
A magical place for a magical time. They've got a dragon on their flag.
Wales gets like no love, like literally ever, so it's like only fair that they have their moment.
And here. I appreciate that. She
says
that she's at the bottom of her second glass of bubbles.
Laurel's celebrating Wales today.
Yeah, we're celebrating Wales and Friday. And also a great time hanging out with all of you and you, Katie. Folks, we'll be back again for episode 119. And in the meantime,
can you believe it?
I know. What? Who? How?
119.
Why? Oh my gosh, why are you here with us? We love it. We're so glad that you are.
If you're all still here, actually, dude, straight up, throw down, if you're in YouTube, but you've been here from the beginning, throw down in that comment section. I'm interested. What was the first episode you watched? That'd be so fun. I'd be so interested to hear it.
Let us know. Spotify has comments as well, too, which is great. So,
oh, does it? Oh, hell yeah.
know. Absolutely.
I didn't know that. I should know that.
Spotify, YouTube. Hey, follow us wherever you're listening right now, and we'll be back with you again in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, get money, get high, give love, and
find your magic, dude. And it's song, poetry, dance, whatever. Find your own magic, because if you don't make it, nobody will.
Bye.